Coming up next, new Pokemon the Series XY on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, a new Clarence on Cartoon Network.
Put on your marshmallow hats, everyone, because coming up next on Cartoon Network, a new Adventure Time. And later, a new regular show. Yay!
Coming up next, more Adventure Time. Later, a new regular show on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Adventure Time. Later, a new regular show. Coming up next, more of the Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu special event. Later, Clarence on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, a new Mad. Later, Annoying Orange on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Pokemon Black and White rival Destinies. Coming up next, a new Clarence. Later, a new Adventure Time on Cartoon Network. Next. Coming up next, Mixels Moon Madness on Cartoon Network.
Yes, a new Adventure Time. Later, a new regular show on Cartoon Network.
Coming up next, a new Almost Naked Animals on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, a new Mad on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, a new Beyblade Metal Fury on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, more Uncle Grandpa. Later, a new Teen Titans Go on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, Johnny Test. Later, a new Adventure Time.
On Cartoon Network. Yes,
A new Mad.
Coming up next, a new Johnny Test on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Mad. Later, a new regular show. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Coming up next, more Teen Titans Go. Later, a new The Amazing World of Gumball on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, Green Lantern the Animated Series, a special 1-hour premiere event. Later, a new Star Wars The Clone Wars. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Pokemon Black and White. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Mad. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Almost Naked Animal. Coming up next, more Teen Titans Go. Later, a new Steven Universe on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, another new episode of Regular Show. Later, the series premiere of Uncle Grandpa on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Annoying Orange. Next. Later, on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, more new Level Up. Later, Adventure Time. Coming up next, new Legends of Chima. Later, Teen Titans Go on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, a new Adventure Time. Later, a new regular show on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, more of the new season of The Amazing World of Gumball. Later, a new Adventure Time on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, a new Ben 10 Omniverse on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next. Later, here on Cartoon Network. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next. Coming up on Cartoon Network, next. Adventure Time with Fiona and Cake. Later, A new adventure time with Fiona and Kate.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Johnny Test. Later, a new The Amazing World of Gumball.
Coming up next, more of the all-new Mixels half-hour special event. Later, regular show on Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next,
A new Ben 10 Omniverse.
coming up on Cartoon Network, next,
A new Adventure Time.
later,
The premiere of regular show, the Christmas special. Coming up next, the all-new Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu special event. Later, more of the Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu special event on
coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Hole in the Wall. Later, Dude, What Would Happen?
Coming up next, a new Adventure Time. Later, a new regular show on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, more new Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu. Later, The Amazing World of Gumball on Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next.
Coming up next, a new Garage Band on Cartoon Network.
Coming up on Cartoon Network, next,
More Annoying Orange.
later,
A new Mag. Coming up next, a new Annoying Orange. Later, Incredible Crew on Cartoon Network. Coming up next, more Clarence. Later, new Steven Universe on Cartoon Network.
coming up on Cartoon Network, next, a new Adventure Time. Later,
A new Mag.
coming up on Cartoon Network, next,
A new Generator Rex.
Ahaha, 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 ahaha.
Yeah, what do it do? I'm in the land throwing bags out the road. 100 bags to walk through. I'm in LA with a bad bitch too. That's a bad bitch too. What do it do? I can pull up on you. I'm in the land throwing bags out the road. 100 bags to walk